Hey everyone, Minutia Minute here, and welcome to a world where man meets magic and machine. I am of course talking about the sci-fi fantasy setting of Shadowrun. Shadowrun is a universe created in the late 80s, I want to say 1989. It was a pen and paper role-playing game at first that eventually made the jump to video games in the early 90s. There was both a Super Nintendo and Genesis game. There were also books, and of course, because it was the 90s, we even got a trading card game. Before I go any further, I just want to thank everyone who voted on the poll for what I should rip open next for this Thursday. Your options were the Star Wars customizable card game Enhanced Premier Deck. Runner-up, losing by just a hair to Shadowrun, was the Tomb Raider collectible card game, for which I've got 4 starter quest decks. Pretty excited to dig into this one at some point, actually. It has both solo and 2-player modes, which for the 90s is pretty uncommon, and also the fact that it's in a collectible card game, but it's got like little figures or something in here. I don't know. I'm curious to give this a try. Let me know down in the comments if this was a worthwhile purchase or not. I got all 4 decks for like 20 bucks, so I felt like I couldn't really go wrong there. But then of course the winner was the Shadowrun Trading Card Game. So as you can see from the cover, I mean, this just says it all. You've got a horned troll or orc, I'm not quite even sure what this dude's supposed to be, with, you know, a string of bullets on one side. He's wearing armor. This is Shadowrun. As you can see from the art on the box, it's a fantasy universe, but sort of set in like a Blade Runner setting. On the back of the box, it actually does a pretty good job giving you an overview. The year is 2058, and magic has returned to the world. Dragons run mega corporations, gangs of troll bikers cruise the highways, and mechanically enhanced street warriors stalk the city sprawls. Shadowrunners, agents for hire who operate outside the law and don't officially exist, take on the dirty jobs that no legitimate operatives will touch. Get ready to face the unexpected, chummer, because anything can happen on a Shadowrun. Now, there's a whole bunch of lore and history that goes into the Shadowrun universe. I'm not going to go too deep into it today because I'm actually just starting to explore this universe myself. There was a PC game in the mid-2010s, I want to say, early 2010s, called Shadowrun Returns, which was really my biggest introduction into the universe. I wasn't super aware of it in the 90s, but I've since bought a bunch of the books. I have the Super Nintendo and Genesis games, the Xbox 360 game, although I've heard that one's pretty terrible and not really Shadowrun-like. And then now we've got this trading card game. This is going to be more of just an open exploration. We're going to open some packs, see what we can learn about the universe. One of my summer goals is to sit down and read through as many of the Shadowrun novels as I can. I've literally got like 30 of them, and I'm only just starting to read them now. So as I read more of those, we'll open up more of these booster packs, and I'll report back to you guys what I learn, because this is a very cool premise for a universe. And while it's never really had like, you know, the widespread notoriety of something like Dungeons and Dragons, fans of role-playing games, I've found, generally are fans of Shadowrun. And this truly is going to be a cold open. Like, I don't even know how to play this game. I'm vaguely aware of how it works, but I don't really know the rules. My understanding is, you know, you have a deck filled with Shadowrunners, who are basically mercenaries that are a mix of humans, trolls, dragons, cyborgs, like, you know, all those kind of fun concepts all in one deck. And you have various objectives that you lay down on the table, and you try to complete the objectives while your opponent basically places obstacles that you have to overcome along the way to complete the objective. And the first person who completes a certain number of objectives in the game wins. Alright, so let's crack into this guy and see what we've got inside. Of course, there's no point in buying a booster box of something if you're not going to actually crack it open and put it in its proper display form. See, now, to my mind, that's just glorious. And look at how many wonderful 90s nostalgia bombs you've got in the background of this picture. I mean, can you really beat that? I'm not sure if you can. Okay, so we'll take a look at the actual outer packaging first. It looks like we've actually got quite a few unique images just on the outsides of the booster pack. So we've got a, I don't know if that's supposed to be a dwarf or a samurai. We've got what looks like cyborg elf, maybe? We've got a cyborg pit bull. And then we're back to the beginning. So it looks like the booster packs for the base set come in 3 different styles. And there was an expansion for this game, but that is a lot more expensive than this bad boy. I would like to get it at some point. We'll see when I decide I'm ready to make that investment with a baby on the way. Probably not anytime soon. I also would really like to get my hands on a starter deck for these, but for whatever reason, the starter decks are significantly more expensive than just buying the booster packs. So I would assume any of the cards you'd need are going to show up in here, and I could just download rules from somewhere online if I needed to. So what I think I'm going to do actually is go ahead and open up 6 packs today, just because I think we'll go through these cards relatively fast. I'm not going to have a ton to explain about the rules, and like I said, we'll just kind of explore the universe, look at some awesome sci-fi fantasy Blade Runner crossover artwork. I mean, just the cover on the box and the boosters alone is almost worth the price of admission in and of itself. So starting off, we'll just take a quick look at the back here. We've got the Shadowrun Trading Card Game. This is the limited edition, where man meets magic and machine. 70 card starter deck necessary for gameplay. Starter decks available separately. It looks like it doesn't say anything about, like, how big the base set is, or rarities, or any of that kind of stuff. So we're just going to open packs. I'm going to have no idea what's common, uncommon, rare, what have you. So maybe I'll do a little bit of research on that after we open up the first sets of cards in a future video. Okay, so here's the card back with the Shadowrun S logo, which is very cool in my opinion. Cards feel pretty nice. Alright, so it looks like right off the bat we have got a Shadowrunner. This is a Troll Runner. The dead teach me more than the living ever will. Grandfather Bones, a shaman. So, character. Green Apple Quick Steps. This is a special. Target runner must immediately return to safe house. So it looks like this is some kind of an interrupt. I have no idea what these cards are exactly, so if you know more than I do, feel free to jump in the comments, but I think it's pretty easy to tell. Gosh, the art on these is something else. As promised. Okay, so we've got another special. When Deja Vu comes into play, choose target player. When Deja Vu comes into play, choose target player. Target player must reroll any dice for that roll he just made. I'm not sure if the the border color changes. I'm not sure what all of that means. If there are like different factions, or if these are strictly just the card types that the border color is signaling. So this is Street Scum, which is a challenge. If a runner team fails to sleaze Street Scum, team must trash a randomly gear card that is present. Oops. So I think a challenge is not an objective, but you would put a challenge down and your opponent has to beat that challenge in order to complete the objective, I think is how that works, but we might learn more as we're opening up more packs here. Alright, we have another character, a Dwarf Runner. Jackhammer's drones do not suffer from fatigue. Cool. One thing that's cool about these cards is, the art is front and center on these. Like, one of the complaints I have about even the Star Wars CCG and the Wars TCG, heck, even Magic, for the most part, the art is just a tiny little box in top, and then you've just got a wall of text throughout a lot of it. Whereas here, they really put, the style of Shadowrun into these cards by making this artwork so big. I've been reading a book of short stories. I can't remember what it's called, but one of the things that happens in one of the short stories is like a corporation invents the Urukai, whereas in like Lord of the Rings, Sauron is responsible for the Urukai as like a subset of orcs or whatever it is. In this, it's like a genetic experiment done by an evil corporation, which is kind of a cool twist. All right, we have Bounty Hunter, who's a contact. Use Bounty Hunter during any Shadowrun phase against any runner who has just pulled out of a Shadowrun. So I basically have no idea what this card does. Alright, a Yamaha Rapier, which is gear that you would equip onto your Shadowrunner in order to conduct a Shadowrun. Alright, we have another challenge, Security Drone. We have a Stomper Ganger, who's a Troll Runner, and of course the mascot for the Shadowrun Trading Card Game core set. So he is a troll. I wasn't 100% sure when I said troll before. Alright, and here's an objective. Okay, so these are obviously like the wide vision cards, so that's how you can tell what it is. It's got the brown border that matches with the challenges, which are played alongside the objectives. And then this number in the corner is basically how many points you get for scoring that objective. And so you would decide how many points you wanted to play to, and that would determine, you know, when you won based on how many objectives you had completed. So I assume different objectives are worth various amounts of points. Now, all that technical jargon out of the way, and we haven't even talked about the name of this card, Ragnarok, Concert of the Century. Hell yeah. All challenges placed on Ragnarok require an additional social +1 to sleaze. I assume sleazing means winning or like scamming your way to a win? I don't know. Operation Up and Over. See, this one's worth 30. Roll d6 when any magic is used on this Shadowrun. On 4+, the magic fails. Alright, we have a human Shadowrunner, Stiletto, a Ganger. So to clarify, I think Stiletto is the character's name and Ganger is the class that this character belongs to, which isn't to be confused with their race, because for example, Stomper is also a Ganger, but he's a troll, not a human. Right, we have a challenge, Poison Gas Trap. And then, I'm not sure what this card... Oh, it's a location. The Z-Zone. It's a street location, used in place of a Shadowrun. Select a team of runners and roll d6. So this works in place of an objective and allows you to basically attack other Shadowrun teams, it looks like. Interesting. This is getting into the minutia of the game that I really have no idea, because like I said, I know the broad strokes. I'll put it with the objectives and challenges cards, though. Okay, so as we're getting into this next pack, just doing a little bit of research as I'm doing this video here. So the classes in Shadowrun are called archetypes, and the ones that are called out on like the Shadowrun wiki, which don't quite line up with these cards, I would assume it's changed over time. Obviously, you know, these would have been for 2nd edition Shadowrun, probably 2nd or 3rd edition. They're on like 6th edition or whatever. But there are deckers who are like hackers, more or less. There are street samurai who are quick on their feet and are basically focused primarily on like urban combat. There are riggers who are like mechanics, mages who are like mages, shamans who are also like mages with a focus on, I would assume, healing and, you know, atoning with earth and stuff like that. And then physical adepts who are like the ultimate fighting machines, basically. Alright, and then kicking off the second pack, we have a challenge, Sentry Gun. We have Thrash, who is a rocker. Another location, a dwarf location, the Caves of Hafferville. Mr. Johnson, who's a human contact. Media Chick, who is another human contact. Loaded Dice. Oh, wow, that's a wicked card. It's a special. Play before target player makes a d6 roll. Modify the d6 roll by +1 or -1. That's really cool. I guess there's a lot of dice rolling in this game. Again, not knowing exactly how it works, but it seems like there's a lot of dice rolling. Voice Print ID Scanner, a challenge. Another Grandfather Bones, so I'm assuming that is not a rare card. Deja Vu, we've seen that. Green Apple Quick Steps. Cover Up, which is a special. Swarm of Drones, which is a challenge. Uncle Joe, the Burned Out Mage, who's a human runner with a built-in chip pack. Bugged Deck, a special. And finally, just a rumor. Play during a Shadowrun on a target challenge that has been revealed. Roll d6 on a 3+ trash target challenge. Maybe played once per challenge. Stack on the objective. So I think that the exclamation mark means it can be played at any time. If I were to take a guess, I believe this is the cost of the card, and I think I remember that there is some kind of currency in the game, so like you get a certain amount of currency like each turn or something like that. But some of these other cards where it's like, you know, it says 3/12 A1, I have no clue. Your guess is as good as mine on that one. Alright, next pack. Okay, we've got Grandfather Bones, Green Apple Quick Steps, Deja Vu, Street Scum, I think we saw that one, Jackhammer Rigger. Okay, here's a new one. Okay, so that's cool, right? An elf wearing a fedora like he's in a Dashiell Hammett novel. That is amazing. Matchstick in his mouth. He's an elf contact. That was kind of a great little card. All right, we have another human contact. Corporate secretary. Security camera. Shell shock. Saw that one. Bounty hunter. We have a challenge. Eye killer. Owl with a long rat's tail. Cool design. We have Knuckles the bodyguard. A troll runner. We have some gear, the FN Mag 5. Surprisingly little gear so far. That's only our second gear card. Oh, and here's another one, Ranger X. And finally, Scatter, the rat shaman. So I was looking into the rulebook for this game, and no joke, 70 pages to learn how to play Shadowrun. Not the role-playing game, the card game. The 90s were a different time, what can I say? Alright, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of this street scum. Seeing a lot of that. Deja Vu, seeing a lot of that. Jackhammer. Elven Hitman. Corporate Secretary. Thrash Rocker. I'm not even sure quite what I'm looking at on that card. If your eyes don't bleed, we refund you. Nice. Alright, the Caves of Haverville. Oh, we saw this one. That's right. Mr. Johnson, we've seen. Media Chick, we've seen. Turbo, who's a ganger. The Funhouse. False Mentor, a special. You receive reputation just earned by target player. Target player receives nothing. This card may not be used to win the game. Frag when played. I assume frag means removed from the game. Wild Goose Chase. Target Shadowrunning team must return to safe house, cannot be used during combat. Such a great variety of art in these cards, like, just looking at these. There's no one definitive style emphasized with these cards, which is, I think, really cool. Ancient's Turf, a challenge. And then finally, last card, City Spirit. Gear. Play on a runner with Conjure, may not be used against outdoor challenges. I really wish I knew which of these cards was uncommon and rare. I'll have to do some research after I complete this video, and I'll try and get you guys some information for the beginning of my next video so that you can find out how cool the cards are that we're pulling. Right now I'm just having a blast looking at the art and trying to figure out how the game works without any real knowledge base, but it would be kind of cool to know. But I gotta stop yapping because this is a pretty amazing card right here. A Vindicator minigun. That is a wonderfully grisly piece of art right there. Alright, we have the Terrangeir, an elf location. We have a challenge, security guards. We have Sin, an orc runner. We have the warehouse. Elven hitman. Corporate secretary. Security camera. Shell shock. Bounty hunter. Cracker Jack, a decker. I do really like that it tells you who the illustrator is. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it says on the bottom. A Harley Scorpion, vehicle gear. It's a great bike if you don't mind spending as much time fixing it as you do riding it. Alright, another piece of gear. Fuchi Cyber 6. This is a cyber deck. Play on a runner with decking to receive decking +2. A Nova Hot deck for a cool price. Foretelling. And finally, an objective card, Cleanse the Hive. What could be cooler than a world with giant queen ants, elves, dwarves, humans, cyborgs? I mean, come on. This is such a cool universe. Maybe it's just too cerebral to be as big as something like a Lord of the Rings. I mean, even Blade Runner, anything cyberpunk really is pretty niche. I think those of us who like cyberpunk don't really realize just how niche the popularity of cyberpunk is in general. But all right, last pack, we've got Bounty Hunter, a Yamaha Rapier, a security drone, which is a challenge, but I think this is different than the other security drone we saw. Stomper, the Ganger, Watcher Spirit, which is a piece of gear, Grandfather Bones, Green Apple Quick Steps, Deja Vu, Street Scum. These come in waves, I'm noticing. Jackhammer, Sleaze, which is a piece of gear. Play on runner with decking. User may reset a triggered alarm on a D6 roll of 3+, but must face challenge. Runners may then sleaze additional challenges. Hunting Gargoyle. Oh, that's an amazing picture too. A challenge. Skillsoft Technical. A piece of gear, and I swear to God that's Frank Miller. What do you guys think? That looks exactly like Frank Miller. Eerie. This is an amazing picture too. Skillsoft Social, which is a piece of gear. Player on a runner with a chipjack. User receives social +1. You know, I had lunch with someone last week that I really think you should meet. Interesting. And then last card, Distraction, which is a special. Play when a Shadowrun team has just triggered the alarm, roll a d6. On 4+, the alarm is not triggered, but the team must still face the challenge. I just love a man in uniform. Okay, so that about wraps me up. I hope you guys enjoyed this Shadowrun unboxing. This is definitely not quite my normal wheelhouse. It's something I'm excited to get into, but I'm not, fully steeped in it yet. Feel free to educate me down in the comments. That's the whole point of doing videos and card rips like this. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a great week in cards, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.